Hello, welcome to Energy and Environment Weekly. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. Today on E&E, oil prices fell this morning as questions over China's economy outweighed OPEC+ output cuts. Nigeria oil and gas sector gets a boost as 4 countries signed $25 billion MOU in relation to Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. And oil marketers to begin importation of petroleum products as from July this year. And this is according to the Nigerian MIDSTREAM and DOWNSTREAM Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. On the power sector, Rural Electrification Agency, REA, and OANDO Clean Energy Limited signs MOU for sustainable renewable energy access across the country. And on environmental matters, Nigeria commemorates World Desertification and Drought Day, calling for women's right to own landed properties. And National Biosafety Management Agency cautions Nigerians over anthrax outbreak. This and more on today's episode of Energy and Environment Weekly. And we begin with today's oil prices, which fell this Monday morning as questions over China's economy outweighed OPEC+ output cuts, and while the United States witnessed a 7th straight drop in the number of oil and gas rigs operating in the country. Brent crude fell 17 cents, that's 0.2%, to $74.44 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude lost 31 cents, and that's 0.4% to $71.47. Both contracts ended last week with gains of more than 2%. A number of large banks have cut their forecast on China's 2023 growth in gross domestic product after May data last week showed the post-COVID recovery in the world's second largest economy was faltering. China is widely expected to cut its benchmark loan rates on Tuesday after a similar reduction in medium-term policy loans last week to shore up a shaky economic recovery. However, China's refinery rose in May to its second highest total on record, helping to boost last week's gains, and U.S. energy firms cut the number of working oil and natural gas rigs for a 7th week in a row for the first time since July 2020. The oil and gas rig count, an early indicator of future output, fell by 8 to 687 in the week to June 16th for the lowest total since April of 2022. Rising Iranian oil exports also weighed on prices. Iran's crude export and oil output have hit record highs in 2023, despite U.S. sanctions. According to consultants, shipping data and a source close to the matter, adding to global supply when other producers are limiting output. The Organization of Petroleum Exports in countries, OPEC, and its allies, including Russia, this month agreed on a new oil output deal, and the group's biggest producer, Saudi Arabia, also pledged to make a deep cut to its output in July. And away from oil prices, the Nigerian oil and gas sector received a major boost as a memorandum of understanding between 4 countries has been signed relating to the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project. The signing ceremony took place at the headquarters of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, between Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Benin, and Guinea. E&E Weekly covered the event. In its bid to fast-track the completion of the $25 billion Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline, 4 significant memoranda of understanding were signed between the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, the Office National des Hydrocarbures et des Mines of Morocco, the Société Nationale des Opérations Pétrolières of Côte d'Ivoire, the National Oil Company of Liberia, the Société Nationale des Hydrocarbures of Benin, and the Société Nationale des Pétroles of the Republic of Guinea. Additionally, the project steering committee convened to discuss the progress of the project and its strategic direction.
African countries are determined to take their destinies into their hands. We're energy deficient. the significant gas resources that is available in Nigeria, Senegal, and Mauritania, and a few other countries, and will now be pulled together by this pipeline network to connect all of us, make energy available to all of us, and also create prosperity in our various countries. This is really what it means. It's really a Pan-African agenda for us to take advantage of the resources that is available to us. And can carry up to 4 billion scoop of gas every day. As you know, gas, as you inject at very, very different locations, you can continue to pull out the gas and then add more gas resources. There are many countries, 11 West African countries, all the coastal West African countries will pass through them. And in addition to that, there are 4 landlocked countries of Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Burkina Faso, all of them will be part of it. No, funding will be financed by the financial sector of the world. We already have line of sight around where this funding will come from. We don't have any PS around funding. About $25 billion.
This kind of project, member countries, if it crosses a country have to, have to do environmental, social, so they have to give certificate that they agree there is no environment, it will not destroy the environment. So it's fundamentally this MAU is for that purpose. So now the consultant will go through all these countries one by one and to validate the environmental and social studies. This is the immediate action for now. And in 1 year, at that time, we will organize many fora, many meetings to attract investors, private investors.
And it is an important project for our African region because it is a project who will integrate all this area with more than 13 countries. It will accelerate the access to electricity for all the people in this region. It will be a tool to increase industrialization and make economic and development of this area of our continent. This project, we are happy today to have signed with 4 new countries in the region, with Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, with also Guinea and Sierra Leone, and this is a complement to the memorandum and agreement that we have signed in September with ECOWAS and in October with Mauritania, Senegal, and all the other countries, Gambia, Liberia, Ghana, and all the countries close by these projects. So we are very happy to see that all the countries in this area of our continent are totally committed to implement this project, because it will be for the benefit of our population, of our economy, and for the integration of this great part of Africa.
The Gambia is very pleased to be a part of this flagship project. We believe it is an excellent example of African-led development and vision for the universal access to energy for Africa. And for a small country, we are very committed to taking advantage of the synergies that this project will offer in order to meet energy access and security for the people of the Gambia and ECOWAS in general. So we reaffirm our commitment to this project, and we look forward to benefiting from it alongside all other West African nations.
These memoranda of understanding is similar to those signed with ECOWAS on September 15, 2022, Mauritania and Senegal on October 15, 2022, and the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and Ghana on December 5th, 2022, to reaffirm the commitment of the parties to the project. Once completed, the project will enhance the monetization of the natural gas resources of the affected African countries and also offer a new alternative export route to Europe. The signings took place on the sidelines of the steering committee meeting of the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project, which was attended by representatives from ECOWAS and all the participating countries, including Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, Senegal, Mauritania, and Morocco. This significant infrastructure project will contribute to accelerating access to energy for all, improving the living conditions of the populations, integrating the economies of the sub-region, and mitigating desertification. It will achieve these goals through the provision of sustainable and reliable gas supply that aligns with the continent's new environmental commitments while providing Africa with a new economic, political, and strategic dimension. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has assured Nigerians of protection from exploitative actions by oil marketers. The Chief Executive Officer of the agency, Farouk Ahmed, gave the assurance at a media briefing shortly after a closed-door meeting with oil marketers. He said, as from July this year, oil marketers will begin importation of PMS. Here's the report. Following the full deregulation of the petroleum sector, all marketers have begun plans to import fuel. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, explained that the meeting with all marketers is to firm up modalities on petrol importation, especially now that the NNPCL will cease to be the sole importer of petroleum products and eventually downgrade its market share to 30–40%.
We just concluded our engagement with the marketing companies Moman, Dabman and NNPC Limited, particularly regarding the current engagement, current situation in the downstream sector, prelude to the pronouncement by Mr. President in removing of petroleum subsidy on premium motor spirit. We call for this engagement so that we can align and also roll out our policies in terms of requirement for importation of premium motor spirit. Of course, we have been engaging and directing all through, but we thought it is necessary to meet together so that we can fashion out areas of concerns and put more clarity regarding the way forward. First thing we give priority to really is the transparency in which we'll conduct the business of importation of premium motor spirit, both by the major marketing companies, Moman and the Dabman, as well as the NNPC. NNPC was the sole importer of PMS in the past, but again, with the advent of the removal of subsidy on that product, it is necessary to open to other interested parties that want to import, so long they meet the requirements of and the regulations of the PIA. But again, at the same time, we look at the flexibility and ease of doing business so that to enable them to import with ease. NNPC is going to be drawing down on their importation from being the sole importer maybe to bring in maybe to about 30–40% maximum, in line with the provision of FCC/BC regulation, which says nobody should exceed 40% of the market share in terms of their own regulations, and we want to abide by that. So we met, we also deliberated on some concerns in terms of provision of foreign exchange for them to import. We discussed that. We also discussed the issue of quality of products importation with source locations. Quality is a very important aspect as well. So we deliberated on how do we control to ensure that all the products that are imported in the country or distributed locally meet the requirements so that the consumer is not negatively affected. We also discussed on collaboration with the law enforcement agencies, especially regarding the movement of products across the country. So it's very important so that we have a very smooth. The pricing we also discussed, and we all agreed that in as much as the market is deregulated and there's no price capping by NMDPRA, we also agreed that we take responsibility by ensuring that the prices are reflective of the market terms of cost plus their cost of importation plus their profit margin. And
the NMDPRA helmsman revealed that 3 oil marketers will from July of this year start importing petroleum products into the country. He said any marketer that would be allowed to import petroleum products must be able to meet the requirements of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021.
Follow the regulations. So we rolled out the policies that are very user-friendly. So some of them have already started putting their applications in place because we don't want to create a gap. NNPC is slowing down their importation. So we have to have someone who is closing up on that gap that NNPC is creating so that we do not have a shortage in the country. But NNPC being a responsible organization is also monitoring what other replacement they have. So we agree that NNPC will continue to import, until such a time when we have a critical mass of other importers. Now, licenses, of course, like I said, we are processing them. Our 2 or 3 marketing companies already came to us last week to say they have already booked cargoes to come in July. So these are some of the very interesting things that we have received, proposition that we have received, which are very much interested in, and we're fast-tracking the process of issuing their licenses to import. Again, we are interacting a lot every day with NNPC to ensure that the market is already well supplied and there's no gap in importation. If the market is deregulated, so I don't believe that we should subsidize on ethics to say that they should go to NCBN and get a CBN rate. If the market is already, this price that the NNPC rolled out, which they sell now, took cognizance of the exchange rate not being at NNPC rate. So they use the exchange rate of about 650 naira per dollar. So if the naira improves, then the price will change. So it can go either way.
According to Farouk, the need for standardization of products had become imperative in order to avoid situations where consumers will be shortchanged when products that are of lower quality are imported into the country. He said all marketers have agreed to improve their level of collaboration with security agencies to ensure the smooth movement of petroleum products. Shortly after that meeting with oil marketers and the NMDPRA, another sect of oil marketers under the aegis of Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, NOGASA, called for a press briefing. In that meeting, the national president of the association, Bennett Corey, rolled out a list of demands made out to the federal government. Some of the requests includes an appeal to the government to allow them load petroleum products using the old rates. He said these are products paid for before the removal of fuel subsidy. The national president of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, NOGASA, Bennett Corey, said even though the association strongly supports the removal of fuel subsidy and the full deregulation of the petroleum sector, the government has to address certain challenges brought on by subsidy removal.
The subsidy removal, NOGASA support the subsidy removal. We're in support of it, 100%. But everybody's talking about removing subsidy removal, but they don't talk about the problem behind the subsidy removal. It's good to remove, but there are things that people don't know. For example, marketers, some of them doesn't have this money to pay differentials. Because when the Mr. President announced the removal of subsidy, in less than hours, the price changed. And that affected a lot of marketers. We're talking about millions. For example, one tanker before, say like 45,000 liters, you're talking about 7 million naira, whatever. In less than an hour, it becomes 20-something million naira. Where is the money? It's not there. As we speak, marketers are rioting now in Port Harcourt, Warri. There's crisis there. They are not happy. Where are they going to get this money? From the bank. bank is giving loan at 30%. So where is this money coming from? That's another problem that nobody's talking about. Removing subsidy, they didn't consider some of these problems. At the same time, we have PEF. Before now, you have this PEF, but there in the government. And the marketers are paying it, but the money is there. They are not paying the transporters, they are not paying the marketers their money. Now that thing has happened. No money. Where do we get money? So therefore, we'll use this opportunity to appeal to government. Please, pay marketers their PEF claim so that we'll continue doing business. Otherwise, if it's not paid, I don't think we'll get fuel to sell. Subsidy or no subsidy, it's important to Nigerians to know that marketers doesn't have this money to pay. Even though we support, we have no choice. We support.
Reeling out a list of demands by the association, the national president, Bennett Okori, called on the government to, as a matter of urgency, attend to Nigerian refineries. He said this will help in driving down the cost of PMS, known as petrol, and importation of diesel to cushion the effect of the cost of transportation.
You will agree with me, I'm hammering on this issue of diesel costs. If the diesel is high, expect the PMS to be high. The only way out is to give priority to diesel, because that's what everybody uses for industry, construction companies, and so on and so forth. Even the transport. You cannot use PMS to load diesel. I mean, you cannot use PMS to load any product. It's diesel that you use. So priority should be given to diesel. And tell them, the CBN, to give priority to diesel importation, not just PMS. It's very important, because when it's cheap, it will also make the PMS to do what? To go down. We want the price of PMS to go down. That price is high to Nigerians. I mean, Nigerians, of course. The price is high too. We want to do something that will bring the price down. So the only way out is to bring the diesel down. It will also help the economy. Not just subsidy removal. We need to consider those areas too. Very, very important.
Some of the demands by the association includes exchange rate of the dollar to the naira, reduction in CBN interest rates.
Again, I'm happy they are talking about exchange rates to be uniform. But we need that exchange rate to be low, not the 750 naira that we are buying. If you land your product at 750, you know how much is it. So we need government intervention in these areas. And again, the issue of interest in the bank. We're talking about 30%, 28% to borrow money from the bank. So who are we working for? We're working for the banks. The marketers are working for the banks. Where are they going to get 30 million naira to pay? Differential to an NMPC. So I want also to use this opportunity to appeal to an NMPC, particularly an NMPC, to load the marketer's product that have been paid 3 months before this subsidy removal. Now you are telling marketers to come and pay the difference. Where are they going to get that money? Be fair to us. Allow us to load our product at the price that we pay before the increment. Because we expected when you pay, you load. So, allow us to load our product from the old price. Removing subsidy is not the answer. But you suffer us. We are the one trading, we are the one bringing the product to the station. Give us that chance to load our product. And I also appeal to my fellow market that have depot owners to also to consider. They are considering, because they are private owners. An NMPC Limited today is a private company. They are like us. But we know it's government something, but they should also understand that we're all businessmen. Consider that thing. It's very important to allow them to load that product. The issue of roads is another big problem we're facing. You will agree with me, last year, I talked about this road. Today, go there. I didn't say they are not trying. Government is trying. There's no problem about that. But today, some of these roads are bad, so bad that our trucks were losing product. So if you remove subsidy, use that money to fix the road. It's important. Not just remove subsidy. Make it easy for us again to do this business.
As part of its corporate social responsibility, Seplat Energy JV held its 2023 edition of its I Can See initiative at the Oba's Palace in Benin City, Edo State. The company's signature CSR health program is designed to ensure the provision of eye care, visual aid, and surgical treatment for cataract, glaucoma, and other eye problems within NNPC Limited and Seplat Energy operational communities in Edo and Delta states. It was also an opportunity to provide lectures on ways to ensure total well-being when faced with other health challenges such as hypertension and diabetes. The program is targeted at men and women and children towards achieving the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal SDG 3 on good health and well-being. Other objectives of the I Can See program include the provision of free optical treatment at all levels to members of the communities, prevention and reduction in cases of permanent loss of vision, provision of free reading glasses and treatment of other related eye problems, educating patients on ways to care for the eyes and how to detect eye disease, as well as lifestyle changes required to reduce the rate of hypertension and diabetes. Speaking during the program, the Director, External Affairs and Sustainability, Choma Afe, said the program aligns with the pursuit of good health and well-being. She said since the inception of the program in 2012, the lives of many in their host communities and other areas have been richly impacted. She revealed that a total of 96,411 patients have been screened, 45,074 reading glasses have been dispensed, and 4,218 surgeries performed. In his remarks, the Director, New Energy, Seplat Energy, Effiong Okon, expressed gratitude to NNPC Limited and other stakeholders involved in making the initiative a success. He said their collaboration has been instrumental in ensuring the success of the I Can See initiative over the years. He added that Seplat Energy and its partners will continue to work to boost the impacts of the program, leveraging the relevant technologies and other resources while appealing to the company's host communities to always support its operations. On his part, the Oba of Benin, Oba Ewuare II, represented by Chief Stanley Obamwoyi, the Esere of Benin Kingdom, thanked Seplat Energy and its partners for the delivery of the program, which he noted had been consistent over the years. And now the federal government has successfully acquired its first hybrid crude export terminal with a storage capacity of 8 million barrels. The Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, on behalf of the government, presented the license for the establishment of Belema Sweet Export Terminal in Kula River State, which has been described as first of its kind in the world. Presenting the license on behalf of the federal government to the Chief Executive Officer of Belema Oil Producing Limited, Mr. Tien Jack Rich, the CEO of the Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, said this is the second indigenous oil company to acquire such a license, the first being the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Exploration and Production Limited. He explained that except in accordance with the appropriate license by the authority, no company or entity had the right to engage in any exploration activity in the country except the two companies.
of terminal establishment licenses for 2 crude oil export terminals, which will add more than 4 million barrels capacity to Nigerian export storage. In line with the Petroleum Industry Act, the NMDPRA under Section 1741A is given power that said, except in accordance with an appropriate license issued by the authority, a person shall not undertake the following activities with respect to midstream petroleum liquids operations. That is, establish, construct, operate a terminal or other facilities for export or importation of crude oil or petroleum products. In line with this, the authority has processed and hereby approves terminal establishment licenses for these 2 organizations. Number 1 is the the NMPC Exploration and Production Limited to establish 2,179,704 barrels crude oil terminal at offshore Akwa Ibom State within the waters of the exclusive economic zone, Nigeria. The second one is Balima Sweet Export Terminal Limited to establish a 2 million barrels crude oil terminal at 20 nautical miles of Kula, which is in southern part of exclusive economic zone, Nigeria. Subsequent to these licenses, terminal establishment notice are to be published in the Federal Government Gazette, which will make it a legal process.
The NMDPRA CEO reiterated federal government's commitment to creating an enabling environment for the ease of doing business in Nigeria while calling on investors.
Is that you have to be technically capable and have the financial resources. Then, what is your business plan? You know, because there's no use establishing a terminal that is not profitable, that there's no way you can make it. So your business plan has to be examined, and we have to look at your financial resources, and we have to look at technical capability. But mind you, under the new dispensation, you don't have to have OPL or PPL. An individual can come up with a business proposal that has to do with license establishment, and when the authority examines his business proposal and his technical capability, we can get the license.
Speaking, Mr. Tien Jack Rich, Chief Executive Officer of Belimap Oil Producing Limited, said the event marked a great milestone for the country and attestation to the great success story of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in less than 2 weeks of his assuming office. He said with the establishment of Belema Sweet Crude Export Terminal, Nigeria now ranks #1 in the world to establish a crude oil export terminal that is climate conscious, where traditional energy and renewable energy integration is operated through virtual power plant model.
Especially a period where the nation is talking about, petroleum subsidy removal. This terminal goes a long way to increase our yields. It goes a long way to create jobs. It goes a long way to put more cash into the pockets of families and youths, and it's something that is of strategic national economic security. Well, this terminal will see its first lift in less than 6 months from today, because we have a ready-made field that is ready to export. My field has lost over 6 million barrels of dry crude produced over the years. This will be a thing of the past. And other operators who are also suffering the same, this will be a thing of the past. So it's an export terminal that is going to be in operation in less than 6 months from today. So there will be collaboration, and that's why we're making this a great deal, and that's why we're showing that as local investor, it's a key attraction for foreign investors too.
You already have commitments to this?
Yeah, we have commitment to this.
Can you tell us how much commitments you have on ground?
So right now we have all the facilities right.
Also speaking, Mr. Modibo Ahmed, who received the license on behalf of the NMPC, said Nigeria should expect the crude oil terminal in the next 1 to 3 months.
It is indeed a very heartwarming and exciting moment for NMPC We have applied this for a very long time, and today it has become a reality. The benefits that is going to accrue, within the next 2 to 3 months, we expect to have our first cargo from within this domain.
Belema Sweet Export Terminal project is designed to be the first hybrid crude oil export terminal in the world. The terminal will be primarily powered by green energy generated wind turbines as well as the integration traditional energy. And now to the power sector. Rural Electrification Agency has continued to play a key role in the nation's off-grid renewable energy space. It has maintained a strong history of drawing in private sector investment, facilitating intersectoral collaboration, and ultimately aiding the implementation and delivery of fit-for-purpose off-grid solutions nationwide. In its latest quest, the agency has partnered with OANDO Clean Energy Limited. The Managing Director, Chief Executive of REA, Ahmed Salijo, Ahmed says one of the best ways to mitigate the effects of subsidy removal in Nigeria is through the exploitation of opportunities to optimize the critical role of renewable energy. Ahmed expressed his delight about the REA-OANDO partnership, saying that it will bring about mutually beneficial collaboration, knowledge exchange, and experiences, all targeted at achieving the common goal of optimizing renewable energy. While commending the REA for its approach to understanding and leveraging the role of the private sector players to deliver on the task of sustainable energy assets across the country, the President and CEO of OANDO Clean Energy Limited, Dr. Alex Irune, stated that OANDO is keen on renewable energy and are excited for this opportunity to create value that the country needs. And now to the environment sector. In commemoration of the World Desertification and Drought Day, the Federal Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with Federal Capital Administration Park and Recreation Department, organized a tree planting ceremony to mark the significance of the day. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Alhaji Ibrahim Yusufu, described this year's theme, Her Land, Her Right, as gladdening and heartwarming. He said this is because women have been at the center of human rights violation worldwide regarding their rights and access to land. The event began with a roadwalk from the Eagle Square to FCT Park and Recreation Department. The global focus for this year's Desertification and Drought Day is on women's land rights. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Alhaji Ibrahim Yusufu, represented by the Director of Desertification, Land Degradation and Drought Management, Mrs. Mabel Okorigu Emmanuel, said women are more harshly affected by land tenure insecurity due to direct and indirect discriminatory laws and practices at the national, community and family level. The PAMSEC said women are major actors in the global efforts to reduce and reverse land degradation. However, around the world, women have unequal and limited access and control over land.
States, communities, policymakers should more than ever comply with their obligations to ensure that women have equal rights to access land in law and in practice. This would imply the adoption of measures to prevent private corporations and investors, powerful local allies, multilateral organizations, regional trade initiatives and family members from discriminating against women in their rights to access, use, inherit, control and own land. Globally, women own less land and have less secure right over land than men. Women make up an average less than 20% of the world land owners, but make up an estimated 43% of the agricultural labor force. Despite women's crucial role in agriculture, food production, and land-based livelihood, there is no consistent national data to the full scope of women's land rights to access land to enable us monitor and enforce their rights. Land and agricultural reforms, allocation and titlings or registration program often target the household, assign ownership to the head of household, most frequently defined as a man. Because women are typically not considered as landowners or farmers, they are usually excluded from extension agricultural support programs and financial credit and loans, which are necessary for effective use of the land.
The Permanent Secretary, Federal Capital Administration, Olushade Adeshola, said desertification and drought are associated with challenges such as reduced global food production, increase in hunger, disease and malnutrition that has led to global conflicts and crises. He said this year's theme is quite pertinent and timely as it underscores the fundamental importance of securing and empowering women's rights to land. Mr. Adeshola said women play a pivotal role in sustainable development, particularly in the realm of land and natural resource management.
Women face significant barriers that impede their access to and control over land. This hinders their potential to contribute fully to the achievement of gender equity and economic growth. By focusing on women's land rights, we recognize the intrinsic value of ensuring gender equity in all aspects of society. When women have secure rights to land, they are better positioned to make sustainable land management decisions, promote agricultural productivity, and enhance the resilience of communities in the face of climate change. This is especially relevant in our local communities, where women are the mainstay of many economies, through subsistence farming to managers of Fortune 5 corporations. When women have access to land, it leads to improved access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunity for themselves and their families. It will strengthen the social fabric of communities and foster more inclusive and equitable societies. In the Federal Capital Territory Administration, we continue to encourage our local communities to ensure that women have equitable access to land in our overall fight against desertification and drought, and remain committed to implementing policies and initiatives that promote gender equality and empower women as key stakeholders in land management.
And in particular, the role the Department of Parks and Recreation is doing. We've been planting trees, and in fact, today we are keen in to flag off our tree planting campaigns. And over the years, because it's an annual event for us, like we started today, and we continue through the weeks and maybe probably months. And statistically, we've planted over 250 trees in Abuja, and you can really see the whole environment of Abuja is quite green, and that's the effort of this department. Once a tree is felled, for you to fell a tree in the FCT, you must apply to the department for permit, and one of the conditions is that there must be replacement. And if you fell a tree without permit, there's a fine for it. You must pay dearly. But the policy is that if you fell one tree, you must be able to replant two.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Ibrahim Yusufu, said the importance of tree planting in the battle against desertification and drought cannot be overemphasized. He called on Nigerians to always champion issues relating to environmental sustainability. The World Desertification and Drought Day is commemorated on the 17th of June annually. The day is used to promote public awareness on the combat against desertification and drought. And that's our package for today on Energy and Environment Weekly. Join us next week, Monday, same time, same station. for more updates. Stay with us for our 3 p.m. news bulletin. I am Joycelyn Elakeche Ada. Good afternoon.